So this is Evan's seventh day, and we've had a little bit of a conversation about the podcast and what to do about it, and we'll come back and talk about that later on. So, are we ready to talk about today's beeps?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
I'm ready. Number one.
So I was walking, humming to a song out loud, listening to the song in my ears, awareness of the words something ain't right while humming, and I had awareness of trees and their greenness and the sky and its blueness.
And is any of that more prominent than any of the others of it?
It's the auditory experience of listening and humming
Okay.
prominent.
So I'm walking and I've got my headphones in and I'm hearing this song and I'm humming along with the song. Is that the
Yes.
deal?
Yeah.
And and is in that aspect, am I more, uh, so it could be just a fact of the universe that I'm humming, but what I'm really doing is listening to the song, or it could be that this humming is directly experienced as I'm humming along with or whatever.
I think the humming was directly experienced.
More so or less so, evenly so, hard to say
Quite even,
so.
quite even, I would say.
So I'm hearing it and I'm humming along with it, and those are both part of that experience.
Yeah, yeah.
Anything more to say about that?
I don't think so. Only
Okay.
that it's always hard to know if it's 50-50, 70-30, but and always hard to know if the beep brought it into your awareness or was it in awareness before. But I think it seemed prominent, it was there. And I would say it's about equal.
Okay. And then there's tree greenness and sky blueness. Are those two
Yeah.
separate things, or is that like one experience where I'm seeing green trees against blue sky?
It's funny because as soon as I wrote this down, I knew that you were going to ask me that question. I was like, Russ is going to ask me, is this more trees? And I think it's both, but I don't, it's not that I'm not thinking, there's trees there, but there's some gist or some sense that I'm looking at a tree and it's green, and there's some gist that I'm looking at a sky and the sky is blue.
As
Sense.
as as one experience or two separate experiences? Or can't tell.
Very hard to tell. I
Okay.
don't know. I'd say one, but
Okay.
I'd say it's one, but I'm not
That's
sure what it would
fine.
mean for that to be separate you know what I mean?
I would say that if you knew what it meant to be separate, then it was separate. And if you don't know what it meant to be separate, then it probably wasn't
Right.
separate.
Right.
And is your experience of seeing trees against the sky, or is it seeing green against blue? That is this mostly about the colors or mostly about the object?
That's the one that I knew you were going to ask me, but I wasn't really sure. I'd say it's slightly more colors, but I don't know.
Okay. So either way, whether we say it's more or less, either way, it's fair to say that the colors are prominent,
Yeah, for sure.
whether they're 60-40 or 40-60 prominent. I don't think we have to say, but it's not just that I'm seeing trees, but I am seeing the greenness of the trees. And
Yeah.
it's not just that I'm seeing the sky, it's that I'm seeing the blueness of the sky.
Yeah, there was definitely an appreciation aspect to it, noticing how blue and how green they were, and there was sort of an appreciation.
Okay. Then I think I'm good about that. Gualtiero, you got,
Okay, yeah, maybe I misunderstood, but I wrote down something about having an awareness of something ain't right.
Yeah,
Was
of
that
the
this
words.
that
Yeah.
was the song or words in the
Yes.
song? Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah. I don't think they were in my. I didn't see them. I didn't. speak them or there was no inner speech. It was just kind of awareness of those words when the beat went off.
And the words had been in the song.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
All right. Number 2.
So I was reading on my laptop screen, inner speaking the words experimental skills. And I sort of had, I read them and then looked up and I was thinking and I was speaking in my head inner or experimental skills, and I had a bit of a faded visual field and sort of a disconnect from that. Like I kind of had faded out a bit. That makes sense. So I remember speaking the words experimental skills in my mind, but I was kind of faded. My visual field wasn't in high resolution. It had kind of blurred out and I had kind of just phased out. That makes sense.
And does that mean that the speaking experimental skills is more prominent to you at this moment?
Yeah. I'd say this is a very low, if you can quantify a beep as a low experience beep. It was just ain't much going on.
Okay. So about experimental skills, that's inner. I am not speaking that aloud. That's inner.
Yeah, inner.
And is it spoken or heard or both or?
Spoken.
Okay.
Like, as I understand the difference between spoken and heard in this context is that it does seem like I'm saying it.
Okay. And in your own voice?
Yeah.
Your own sort of naturally occurring?
Yeah.
Okay. And then there's the faded visual field, which I didn't quite understand. What is that visual field of?
It was just so I looked up from my laptop. I was in a coffee shop. There wasn't really anything there in particular in my awareness. I took nothing in from my visual field except that it was a bit blurry because I had sort of phased out.
And had you looked up slightly before the beep? And when
Yeah. So I kind of I read the words experimental skills on the screen, looked up and then said it to myself, kind of phased out a bit and then the beep occurred.
Okay. And so let me see whether I've got this, because there've been some distractions in my end here. I'm saying to myself experimental skills, which is something that I am reading on the screen, that has been on the screen and I have read it.
It was on the screen and I read it, but I looked up, said it in my head. So the reading, it was disconnect. So the reading wasn't when I spoke it in my mind. I read it first, looked up, and then spoke it in my mind.
So I'm innerly speaking experimental skills that's separate from the reading. I had read it, but
Yes.
now I am saying it.
Yeah.
Okay. And I have looked up from the screen, and while I'm saying it, my eyeballs are aimed at the coffee shop around me, I guess, but I'm not really seeing it.
Nothing. Like when a video is loading and it's a 140p, just very, very blurred, low resolution, can't really make out anything.
So there's some visual experience, but no particular visual experience.
I think I have some recollection of like a colored T-shirt in the middle, but I wasn't even aware of it enough in that moment to have written it down. So no, it really was a phased out. Like I think it was a bit of a blank experience.
And would you say that it is visually blank, or it's visually just very undifferentiated? Something there, but it's not.
There's definitely something there, but I just wasn't taking any of it in.
And something experientially there? Clearly the coffee shop is there in a physical sense.
Yes.
But experientially I'm somehow very vaguely, faintly, inchoately seeing it. Is that right?
Yeah, but it's not prominent in my experience. It doesn't compare to a normal visual experience.
Okay. Then I think I'm good. Walter, you?
Good too.
Number three.
So I was speaking to myself. Is this so? Oh, this was an interesting one actually. So I was speaking to myself. Is this some hard-coded mechanism? So that's what I was speaking to myself, the inner speech. And then I had some vague sense that I was asking my upcoming guest this question. So I was inner speaking it, and I couldn't see him necessarily, but there was a sense that I was asking him the question in sort of an abstract, vague way that I couldn't really put my finger on. I couldn't see him. He wasn't sitting across a table, but he was there. The question was directed at him. Yeah, in some sort of vague, abstract way.
So so is what you're saying is that this is not something that I'm saying to myself, but something that I'm saying to, let's call him James. I don't, or you can make up a name we can call him, but just let's give a particular name to this. Well, let me ask it first. There is a particular person involved. This is not
Yeah, it was the guest that
some,
I had today. His name is Nikolai. Yeah,
okay.
so I was directing the question to Nikolai as I might in the podcast, and I wasn't visualizing him, but I definitely was asking him the question, and there was some sense that he was there, even though he wasn't in my visual field or in my imagination in any way that I could see.
And so there's two possibilities. One, I guess, or maybe more, but at least two possibilities. One is I understand myself to be saying this to Nikolai.
Yeah.
And another is I'm saying it to Nikolai, and somehow Nikolai is there, even though I don't see him or feel him or touch him or see him or whatever, but he's there. So the question is there a there-ness of Nikolai, or is it just this innerly spoken thing is aimed at Nikolai?
By there-ness, I wouldn't say he was located anywhere in space in my imagination, if that's what there-ness mean. It's just his presence was in the same way I'd be talking to him over Zoom. There was some sense that he was there in some sort of abstract way. Does that make sense? It was very vague. You don't really know exactly how, but it felt like I was directing the question at him without seeing him in that moment.
So maybe the question that I'm asking is not possible to ask or answer, but it seems like there could be a distinction between I'm aiming a question at somebody. There's no question about that. I'm aiming this question at Nikolai. This is a question designed for Nikolai.
Yes,
And
definitely.
and beyond the fact that there's a question aimed at Nikolai, there is some presence of Nikolai. And maybe that's not a so
Yeah,
does it so
exactly. I
that's a
don't.
question. Does it seem like there's some presence of Nikolai that's beyond just this question is aimed at Nikolai?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I don't know. Presence is a strange word. Again, it is a vague sense that he's there. So maybe presence. Maybe there is a degree of presence there. It's
Okay.
definitely very tangibly that it was at him in some way. I just couldn't see him. So yeah, there is some there-ness, or there is some presence. Like the idea of him. I was directing the question to the idea or the concept of him.
And the speaking is in your voice, this whole complete sentence, quote, is this
Yes.
some hard-coded mechanism, unquote, an applied question mark?
Yes. Yeah.
Inflected like a question mark?
Yeah.
And does it seem like the same way that you would have asked the question if he had actually been there?
I probably would have been a little bit more articulate with the way I phrased the question. But yeah, it would be the way that I would speak in a casual conversation with him, yes.
Okay. Then I think I'm good.
I just have one clarification to ask. When you say that you said that you were did I remember right? You said you were imagining Nikolai.
So it really depends on what you mean by imagine. So I was speaking to myself. It was directed at him, and he was I was in some sense imagining him, but I didn't see him in this case.
Okay.
It was just
So
that there was an
you
idea or of him or a concept of him that the question was being directed at. I don't know if
okay.
imagine
So
works there. Every word.
you weren't imagining in a visual sense,
No,
in the
definitely
sense of
not.
having an image of him or like a
Right.
picture of him in your head. No, there was nothing like that.
It was a much more abstract sort of
Yeah.
feeling of him and a vibe, an
Yeah.
idea. No word matches it perfectly, but
Yeah.
a
Okay.
sense of him.
Thank you. Yeah.
Onward. Number 4.
So beat 4.
Yep.
So I was watching a football clip on my phone, thinking, fucking hell, marveling sort of at how good the clip was that I was watching. I am sort of with a strong sense of appreciating how good the clip was, I guess. Hard to know how to phrase that, but there was a, awareness of appreciation. And I was very aware of the orange color of the Barcelona jersey.
Okay. That's the description there.
Yeah.
And fucking hell, is that words that are, well, let's start with there. Are we talking about the words fucking hell or,
This would be yeah, I think so, but this would be the one where I'd have less confidence on if it was thinking or inner speech. The others I would have a good idea now that it was inner speech or thinking. This one, I'm like, there's a bit of error bars on it. I think it was thinking rather than inner speech, but it could have been inner speech, if you understand. There's a little bit more ambiguity on this one.
okay. So the idea, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
of quote fucking hell unquote is present to me.
Yes.
And maybe I'm speaking it and maybe I'm not speaking it. That would depend on how you define speaking and how you define. Is that right?
Yeah. It was definitely those words, but it was more conceptual than thinking fucking hell as words spoken in my mind.
So it's the words. There's no question. It's the words fucking hell,
Yeah.
and it's not just. It's not just the concept fucking hell. It's the words fucking hell. Like the concept could be conveyed by I don't know what else you would say about that. Oh my God, or
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, or something.
It was definitely those two words.
Okay, but not definitely spoken and not definitely heard.
Right.
And then to turn that backwards, is it definitely not spoken and definitely not heard? Or is it
No, it could definitely be spoken.
okay? So it's in some inchoateness or imperfection of communication here between speaking it and not speaking it. So
Yes.
the words are there, and maybe I'm speaking it, maybe I'm not speaking it. I can't be totally confident about that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Can't be totally confident either way. I can't say it's not, and I can't say that it is.
Yeah.
Okay. And is it inflected? Are these words inflected?
Maybe a bit. There is a bit of a. That's why maybe I'm leaning on speech. It's definitely those words, and there is a bit of a emotion to it. There's a bit of a passion to it, rather than it.
That's
I don't
not
know
an
if as a concept is it. I don't know if that necessarily teases those two things apart at all. But there is a bit of an emotion to it. I don't know if that answers your question.
so that fucking hell is not an expression that I customarily use, but so is it like fucking hell exclamation point fucking hell or
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt.
okay? So there's some oomph in these words. It's
Yes.
not. This is not just the words. It's the pizzazzly, powerfully powerfully uttered words. Whether I'm uttering them or not, I don't really know. But
Yes.
okay.
In your mind, does that tease apart thinking or speaking? Because you can think with a bit of oomph as well, can't you?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
It, so I don't think there's a hard border between what I would call words present and innerly speaking. And I don't think there's a hard border between uncivilized thinking and words present or any other probably hard border. But I think I do think that it is definitely possible for words to be present very strongly inflected, as this apparently is, even
Yeah.
though they're not spoken. But it's
Yeah.
not like these are just dispassionate words, fucking hell. It's that these are fucking hell or
Yeah.
whatever the inflection
Yeah.
is.
For sure. There's power to it. There's weight.
Right. My opinion about that, the way I think that works, rightly or wrongly, is I think that all these things are multi-processor deals, and you've got a channel that puts power things and another channel that puts words things, and probably there's 100 channels in each one of those things, and when they all come together, sometimes they come out with innerly spoken and sometimes externally spoken, and all those things are coordinated together on a good day. And,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I'd
they
love
all
to understand why somebody goes to inner speech before thinking or goes to thinking before inner speech. Definitely context dependent, definitely specific to the person. I have no idea when I go to one or the other.
Yeah. Well, I think it's more complicated than that because I think it is possible to internally speak and externally speak at the same time and different words. So it's not like there's just one word producer. I think the
Yes.
parallel processing can have two or more word producers in the same mode or different mode. I think it's possible to internally speak two different things at the same time. Not it's not common, but it happens. It's fairly common to internally speak one thing and externally speak something else.
I don't think I relate to that. And I don't think I relate to the hearing either. I don't think I've ever heard not in my voice, weirdly. I think when I speak to myself, it's in my voice always. I was kind of trying to pay attention to that today. Not that I would ever exclude it from a possibility that it would happen in another sample, but I don't think I necessarily hear other voices when I do this.
I think the phenomena are multi. I think it's possible to hear your own voice without speaking it, as if it were being played back by a tape recorder. And I think it's possible to speak your voice without hearing it. And it's possible to both. And it's possible to speak somebody else's voice. I'm speaking Barbara Streisand's voice or whatever. You could do that. So I think it's complicated.
Yes.
So we haven't talked about the appreciation. There's some appreciation for the skill.
Yeah.
And that's present to me. And
Yeah.
is that what fucking hell is? Fucking hell sort of a caption to the how skillful this is?
It could be, exactly. It could be.
But it's not necessarily.
Yeah, like I think it is, and I think there's a sense that it's coming from the body, but that's hard to.
Coming from your body?
Yeah, like when I say the words "fucking hell," it feels like there's almost an appreciation, but it feels like it's coming from the body in some weird way. Am I confusing things all completely now?
Well, I haven't yet figured out what you mean by from the body.
Neither do I. But
So are you saying that? So I'm watching a very skilled soccer player do a very skillful move. That's
yes,
the substrate here.
yeah,
And are you saying I have something like a bodily appreciation of that? That the appreciation is bodily? Like I'm.
yes. I would say that if I was to describe what feeling appreciation feels for me, it is bodily most of the time. But this case, I'm speaking specifically here. It does feel like that that sense of awe, sense of appreciation, in some way that I can't describe. It seems to come from the body. It doesn't seem to come from the brain, or it seems kind of below the neck. weirdly.
So I'm somehow experiencing a bodily appreciation for what I'm seeing.
Yeah,
And is that bodily appreciation in some way like a mimic of like I feel my body doing the same backward scissor kick or whatever the guy was doing.
I don't think so.
So this is I guess you could say I was going to say abstraction, but that doesn't seem quite right. It's not my feeling of appreciation is not a mimic of what the guys that I see is doing. I
Yeah.
appreciate it, and that's one thing, and he's doing it, and that's another thing.
Well, it's a good point. Maybe it is, but it definitely wasn't that I imagined my body doing that trick necessarily. But it definitely could be that whenever I appreciate someone else's body doing something, that appreciation stems from my body in some way. That does make a lot of sense. But it's not necessarily that it's doing that trick specifically, but I just see some body doing something impressive, and where I feel that is also in my body.
Okay. So what I don't want us to do is to infer
Yes,
that,
I
that
know.
that's the whole mirror neuron thing.
Yes,
I'm not a fan of that kind of logic. There might very well be individual motor mirror neurons, but that doesn't mean that we have any experience of that. But we could, and that's why I was asking. And I took your answer to be, I'm not directly experiencing that.
no,
I'm,
I wouldn't say yeah,
I, I
I wouldn't say
am,
that I was.
I have a bodily experience of appreciation, which I understand to mean somehow in my body, my body is expressing appreciation. And
Yes,
I'm,
and
and I'm under, I'm, and me, Evan, is grasping that somehow.
yes,
And it
yeah,
doesn't, and from that it might have come the words fucking hell, but I don't have a connection to that. That's so I speculate that I'm fucking hell, saying fucking hell in appreciation for this move. Is that right?
that's a little bit harder to tease apart. Like the fucking
Okay.
hell was definitely prominent, more prominent than the bodily feeling of appreciation, but impossible to know which one led from the other or caused the other in any sort of chain or even necessarily if they were connected, but it did feel like they were.
Okay. And then there's the orange color,
Yes.
which you said orange color of the Barcelona journey. Does that mean what I'm really interested in is the orange color, and it happens to be from a Barcelona journey, but at the moment, jersey, but at the moment of the beep, I wasn't really into the jerseyness of it. It was somehow the orange was attracting me.
Yeah. I just seem to the awareness of the color seems to linger and be prominent. There was no jerseyness about it. It was
Okay.
the color.
Okay. Then I think I'm good. Number 5.
So I was eating an orange, could feel the coldness of the orange on my 2 front teeth. Obviously a strong orange taste. That was pretty prominent. And then this one's a bit confusing. This will be fun. I was watching a video, but not focusing directly on the words, but I was visualizing in my mind's eye a cell bind something in its environment, and then again, abstractly thinking, is it conscious? This is a complicated one. You get me to do experience sampling before I have a 2-hour podcast on cell consciousness and lots of weird stuff happens.
Okay. So let's start with the second half of this part. So I'm watching the
Okay.
video, and the video's
Yes.
got words, but I'm not paying attention to the words at all.
Not really.
And the video is showing something. Am I paying attention to that at all? Or is that just happening?
Yeah, it was a podcast with the guy speaking. So it was something he said previously that would have started this train of thought and visualization.
So what I'm asking at this point is, have you entirely left behind the video? Your
Yeah,
sensory aspects are processing it. You're hearing it. You're retinizing it, or whatever you want to say about that. It's falling on your retina and you're processing it. But
yeah,
but I'm not paying attention to that at all. What I am paying attention to is my own visualization of a cell.
yeah.
And what do you see?
So a very sort of, so I can see an orange cell membrane, and then it just has a couple of things, a couple of kind of abstract shapes floating around it, inside it, which are, I guess, supposed to represent its organelles. And then it just has one big sort of receptor, which is like a Y. And then there's a triangle-shaped thing coming in and binding. That is sort of as much as the visualization goes.
And you described that pretty clearly. Is this I see it as clearly as I've described it?
Yeah, I can see it pretty clearly.
Okay. And at the moment of the beep, we're seeing it pretty clearly?
Yeah.
So the cell, is the cell roundish or squarish or
Spherical, yeah.
okay? And I see it like in three dimensional sphere. And
Yeah.
I can see some shapes inside, which I'm presuming to be organelles, but I'm not really paying attention to the organelles.
Yeah, that's
So
not that clear.
but
There's nothing really that clear, just abstract sort of shapes.
there's something inside, some things
Yeah.
inside, some blotches, I guess, some things inside, but that's not what I'm paying attention to. And then I've got a receptor. Are we
Yeah.
talking like dendrites of a cell or something like that? Is that what we mean by receptor?
Just like a large representation of what like an antigen would look like in like a diagram, which is basically just like a big Y like this coming out of the cell surface and then something
And
binding.
and in your imagination, is that Y-ness going up as opposed to going left or right or whatever?
It's like top right corner of the sphere. I know sphere doesn't have a corner, but you know what I mean? Top right and then pointing sort of 45 degrees angled outwards. And then
Okay.
something is kind of coming in from the environment and binding.
And that something coming in from the environment you said was triangular shaped? Is
Yeah.
that okay? With the pointy side leading or the pointy side back or
Yeah. Pointy side into the dock.
okay? And is this in motion? I see this triangle coming in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And then there was something more about that.
Yeah.
What was,
Perhaps
but I don't remember what
there's,
it was.
yeah, there's some, so the cell binds something its environment, and then more abstractly thinking, is it conscious? So this I seem to be, so there's like an overlaying idea or a sense of like, is it conscious, kind of lingering over the whole idea in my head. Definitely, I don't think I said it. It was more, yeah,
Did you say the cell is binding something in the environment? And is that the thing you're
triangle.
visualizing at that? Yeah, the triangle. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And some sort of idea that the some sort of sense that the overall question I'm asking myself while imagining this is a cell conscious? Is it conscious doing this?
And this is present to you. This is it conscious. And by present, so let me define what I mean by that. So
Yeah,
it's possible that I know I'm having this interview about cell consciousness or whatever, and I've set myself the task to think about, well, cell consciousness. And in so doing, I have left the podcast behind and I've seen this inner visualization. I'm seeing this inner visualization. And I really left the question behind as well. The question was, is it conscious? And now I'm answering that question by watching this internal video. Or I'm still somehow in touch with the question, is this conscious?
still in touch for sure. It's like it
Okay.
lingers in the background. It's present, but I can't see it, and it's lingering over the whole scene as the whole thing evolves.
And in words, or is this a conceptual lingering? So word.
Conceptual lingering.
So it's not
Yeah,
so much words. So there's no reason to prefer is it conscious or is this cell conscious or does cell have consciousness? Any one of those would be okay.
I think so.
Okay.
Like if you say, I didn't see the words, it felt like those words, but not that the words were visible or I could see them anywhere. It felt like those words in a concept. So I don't know if you can, if I substituted out, like, is the cell conscious? It does seem like it was those words, but still sort of abstractly and conceptually rather than speaking them.
And the words would be is the cell conscious, not is it conscious.
I have is it conscious written down. That's what I
Is
remember it as.
is
Is
it
it
conscious?
conscious?
Is it conscious? Not is this conscious, but is it conscious?
Is it conscious?
That you broke up a little bit for me. Is it is it
It's
conscious?
yeah.
Okay.
It conscious, yeah.
And and what you said there was seemed like some hint about this being almost a visual. Is it conscious? Like I almost see those words. Is that
I don't see the words, but it feels like those words. But I don't see them anywhere.
okay?
It does
And
feel like those words specifically.
okay. And I guess does it? Do you don't speak those words and you don't hear those words either? I would gather.
No. It, it's
And
it, it feels conceptual, but it does feel sort of specific to those words.
okay. Okay. Then I think I'm good. Walter.
Did we say anything about the feeling of coldness of orange on
No,
the front
no,
teeth?
no, we didn't.
Yes, I was eating an orange, could feel the coldness of the orange on my two front teeth, and then very strong orange taste.
And between those two, would you say it's more about the cold or more about the orange, or doesn't that question make sense or equal?
The orange taste, I'd say 70-30.
Okay. Then I think I'm good.
What about with respect to the feeling of coldness of the orange versus the rest of the experience of the video with the the thought that you know whether it's the cell binding, all of that other stuff, like what proportion of experiencing is there
I'd say
is
it's smaller,
the
like
feeling of
comparing,
coldness of orange is smaller than the other stuff.
definitely smaller. Yeah, like the prominent experiences there were the orange taste and the visualization in my mind's eye, and between those two, it's hard to. It feels like multiplying apples and oranges, literally. Like, it's. I don't know how you could. They're both very prominent and didn't seem to be conflicting with each other in any way. Like a strong orange taste and the visualization
Yeah.
in my mind.
So I think it's quite possible for things both to be 100%. You can have two things both be 100%.
Because they're in
And I
different
think it's also
modalities, I guess.
I think it's also possible for them to feel like one's more prominent than the other. So I often ask whether one's more prominent, but I don't really care about that. What I really want us to do is to focus on the experience. And I've found that asking whether one is more prominent is a good way to get people to think about the experience rather than the theory about it.
Yeah, makes sense. They could be both 100% and are pretty high up.
Okay. Then I think I'm good. You good, Walter?
Yeah, this reminds me of a question. Can I just ask a somewhat related question to Russ?
Sure.
Please.
Have you ever interviewed people who claim to have, I think I read about this, but I am trying to confirm, people who are having not just two different types of experience, like feeling coldness in their teeth and imagining a cell, but two experiences of the same type, sort of in parallel, like two thoughts that are distinct and happening at the same time, um, or imagining one thing like the cell binding to the triangle, but also imagining, I don't know, a UFO landing somewhere else, like completely distinct, but the same type of experience.
Yes. In all possibilities. So it is possible to have to innerly see a cell binding and innerly see, Trump on the grounds at Windsor Castle or whatever.
Yeah. And
That
can
sounds
it
like
go,
psychosis to me. No,
It's
like that really sounds like psychosis.
it is not psychosis.
can anybody go beyond two?
Yes. I have described the case of Fran that I've described went up to like 10 or something like that.
I think that's what I was remembering. Yeah, you mentioned it in the book with Eric, don't you? Or maybe some other thing that I read.
Right. I think I talked about Fran with Eric.
Yeah, you mentioned it somewhere in
We
there.
have like a 20-minute clip of Fran at the end of our episode. So I can link it after that. You have a very good retelling, a chilling retelling of that story on our episode together. I'm actually surprised that video is still monetized with that. I thought that was going to demonetize that video, that clip, but it didn't. Interesting enough. But I'll link it to you if you want to watch it. He does it very well.
Yeah, I would.
Crazy story. I've told like 100 people that story now. No one believes me.
It's a totally interesting story.
Yeah, very
and
interesting.
and totally transformative for me because I didn't believe it when I first heard it either.
Yeah.
But the answer to your question, Gualtiero, is I think anything that you can imagine as happening one at a time, I have seen happening in multiplications in just about any combination.
That's bizarre.
I don't
That's
see.
so crazy.
Which is part of why I was saying a little bit ago. I think of everything as being parallel. I think, there is not one image maker. There is a whole collection of image makers, and those things can be wired parallelly or separately or serially or about any other way.
Must be completely preposterous to someone with aphantasia. That someone can not only visualize one thing, but visualize multiple completely separate things somewhere. That's preposterous to me. I don't know how you have two. Like, I don't know where they are. But the point is we can't possibly identify with that.
But you're saying somebody could also just have separate thoughts happening at the same time. Like I'm thinking of this, but I'm also thinking of that, and I'm also thinking of the other.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is not productive. Like, are they arguing with each other? It's like anti-phase waves just kind of, they're crashing into each other. I don't know. I have no idea what that would be like.
So what I think is that it actually is productive if you can control it. So, for example, I think there are some really good comedians, like imagine Robin Williams in his prime, who could go in this direction and suddenly be going in that other direction. Well, he's been processing that other direction while he was doing the first direction. Maybe
Interesting. That's a cool point.
three or four things at the same time. And he can go back and forth, and that is a skill that he has honed either on purpose or by accident, and for whatever his situation was.
Yeah, it's a cool example. That's a cool example. I hadn't thought of that before.
So it's not necessarily unproductive.
Yeah,
But
it only seems that way for someone who has only one track, how they have multiple tracks, not just smacking off each other. And it's cool. Again, it's the variance of human experience. It's infinitely
and when
wide.
you stop to think about it, a lot of human skills are really bundles of things which are separable but parallel. Like I'm a classical guitar player, and the left hand and the right hand are doing absolutely opposite things all the time. And you can
Right.
pay attention to both of them. A good guitar player can pay attention to both of them at the same time, and how it sounds, and this line and that line, and and polyphonic deal. You can track each of those lines. A good musician can track each one of those lines separately.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Number 6.
So I was thinking about I was staring outside the window, sort of aware of the blue sky, thinking about what my listeners need from my videos and repeating words in my head. They need. It's a bit of a weird one.
I didn't hear that last word. After they need, then what?
Just so that I was just repeating those two words while staring into the blue sky.
Okay. And is the blue sky more prominent than the they need? Or less prominent, or equal, or both 100%, or whatever?
It really it can be hard to know because they just are such different experiences that they can both be there, but you don't. It's very hard to compare the two.
Okay.
You can comparing a blue sky to a conceptual idea of thinking about what listeners need from my videos is like. I understand why. In this case, it's not apparent, which is more
okay
in my awareness.
And is it about the blueness of the sky, or the skyness which happens to be blue? Am I seeing the sky, or am I seeing the blue?
80%, maybe 90% blue. But
so I'm seeing blue,
again, a hard one.
Which I know is the sky. It's not like I'm just seeing abstract blue. I'm seeing blue of the sky, but it's mostly the blue. It's not the sky.
That one's it's super hard to disentangle those at all. Maybe, yeah. I feel like it's more blue than sky, but there's maybe 60-40 or 70-30 blue to sky.
Okay. And we had an orange jersey back a little bit ago. That one, I thought you were pretty confident this was mostly orange. So
yeah, for sure.
Did that one seem like 90-10 or 90-91 or?
I'd say there was almost no jerseyness to that orange.
So that orange was 100-0, but this blue doesn't seem like 100-0. This blue seems like
there's definitely a bit of sky in there.
20 or 70-30 or something.
Yeah, I would say so.
Mm-hmm. That doesn't. I'm not disbelieving that at all. It's to be another argument for me in the parallel processing deal. It's not like you have to go in all blue. It's as if when one went into sensory awareness, it has to be all the way. I don't think that's true.
Yeah.
And then they need, and is that just 2 repetitions, or do you feel like there's been more of those? But
I might have said it like 3 times, but between 2 and 3 times, I think. And then when saying that, the sort of abstract thinking is the more expanded, like just thinking about what my listeners need from my videos. The idea of that.
And is that present to you, that I'm Explicitly pondering what my viewers need for my podcast.
Yes. But again, it's sort of this, not to compare, but it sort of is again just that it's like a lingering sense rather than it being very concrete. I have a sense that that's what I'm doing, but I don't. Yeah, it's just kind of lingering around the experiences that I'm thinking about what my listeners need for my videos.
So is it the case that I am both trying to figure out what I'm working on what my listeners need, and that's explicitly present to me. And at the same time, I am saying they need, they need, they need. And those might very well be related to each other, probably are related to each other. But
Definitely.
it's not just, it wouldn't be fair to say, I am saying to myself, they need, and that's it. But it's they need, and I am thinking about what my viewers need.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. But for some reason, none of the contents of that thinking was accessible to me in the moment of the beep. It was just those words and the general sense that is what I was thinking about.
Okay. And I think I'm good.
It's interesting to me just how not just how variable experiences can be, obviously, but just how the quantity of an experience in one moment can be just massive, and then a quantity in another experience can be just nothing compared to it. So that moment to moment not only varies in content, but just the amount of experience massively varies as well.
Right. I think that's true. So we have done 7 days. Do we want to do more days, or do we want to have a conversational day as our next scheduled deal?
So I kind of want to do still a day. I haven't been able to do a weekend, and I kind of just have a bunch of activities that I want to do. So it won't be like I want to try out different things. Like I want to do one with me doing mental arithmetic because I'm curious about what the hell's actually going on in my mind when I'm doing mental arithmetic. So there's like a couple of things that I just have in my mind that I'm curious what the experience will be.
Okay.
So maybe one more. That's if user or could do one more,
And
but and I can even do it next. We could do it this.
and
I could do the Veeps this weekend, and we could do Monday or something if you're available on Monday.
so Monday, what time do we generally do? I teach on Monday morning, so I could do 10:30 or 11 o'clock my time, which is we did 11 o'clock today. So I could do the same time today. The same time as we did today, I could do on Monday, Monday the 22nd.
Yeah, is Tuesday
No,
better or is it worse for you?
Monday's better, actually.
Monday's better. Yeah, I can do that, and I'd like to get some Veeps on a Sunday, just doing random things for curiosity's sake.
That work for you, Gualtier? That would be 1 o'clock.
90% yes.
Okay.
Let's give it a try.
All right.
So this
So
Monday,
Monday the 22nd,
same time as today.
same time as today,
Yeah.
which is 11 o'clock for Gualtier, or 1 o'clock for Gualtier, I think.
Okay.
All right. Sounds like a plan. And then, well, I guess we'll see what happens on that. Then when we may decide that that'll be the last one, or maybe that'll raise some other questions and we'll want to go on,
Yeah.
want to go forwards.
Yeah, I think we'll be good from there. There's like a couple of activities that I'm curious. I want to play piano, just do a few because I work too much, so I just kind of ended up in that being all of the beeps are working, and I don't really have much. I want to get more variance and experience, and every week I say I'm going to do it, but then I just end up working a lot. So I'm going to try on Sunday to just have a bunch of random activities and try to get a couple of beeps for each. I might even do more than 6 beeps, and we can just have a bit of fun with it. But
Okay. So I think you're skilled enough to know that we can vary the procedure. We don't have to be a purist about the procedure.
yeah,
I think you've got logic of what we're trying to get at here, and we can go explore based on that. And we'll see where it takes us.
Yeah, sounds good.
And then, do you all want me to send you? You want to see the website that I'm working on, or do you want to wait until that's done? That'd be useful to you to see what the website would look like, or would that corrupt your thinking or whatever?
Like
I don't really care.
it's a good question. I guess what I'd ask you is, would it be entertaining content to reveal that live on a podcast and we go through it together live? Would that not be entertaining? Would it be more entertaining and more interesting for me to go through it fully, prepare questions, and then go into it? I don't really know what's on the website, so I'd be curious from a content perspective what you think would be most engaging, most interesting.
Well, why don't I not? I won't send you the website, but I will. You should go and take a look at the Mel or Carrie or some recent website on my site, and it's going to look like that.
Okay.
And
Okay,
except that
perfect.
except that the experiences are going to be your experiences as opposed to Mel's or Carrie's or somebody else's.
That
So,
makes sense.
you know which website I'm talking about?
Yeah, could you drop me the link either here or in an email? I sometimes do struggle to find your website. I've looked a few times and then
Yeah, I'll send you the link.
yeah, thank you. That'd be great. That sounds good. And then after that, I might have a clearer idea of exactly how I want this
Right.
podcast to go. From a dramatic reveal might be interesting, or it might not be. I don't really know yet.
I'll leave that up to you so you can figure that out.
Sounds good.
All right. So we will see each other on Monday at 11, and I will send a calendar link shortly. And Gualtier has something to say.
Just for us, thanks for your emails. I will respond as soon as I have time to think about them a little more. Um, and I probably owe you other response to other things, but it's been a busy semester.
Okay.
Teaching's going well. You said
It's it's going well, but it's two new preps, it's all new material, so I have to read it carefully. So just for that, there's a lot to do. And
yeah.
everything else, and I have a kid and I'm kind of a single dad, so
Well, I'm thinking that you and Gualtier and I have an interesting conversation to have, and sooner or later we'll have it. And I don't think we need to rush it.
all right. Yes. Thank
All
you.
righty.
Bye.
Have a great weekend, gents.
See you on Monday.
Relax, chill. See you.
See you.